City of Stevens Point Board of Water and Sewerage Commissioners meeting, recorded March 8, 2021.
Hello, everybody. Do we have a quorum, Joel?
Let's see. We've got Paul, Carl, Anna. We do have a quorum, but that's all I see. We do not yet have Ray or May. Oh, wait, here comes May. I'm admitting her now. Okay, with May, that makes 4. I'll let you know if Ray comes on.
Okay, very good. First item or second item of business is approval of the minutes. Anybody have any suggestions or changes? If not, a motion is in order to approve the minutes.
So move, Nachman.
Second, Rasmussen.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. On to the Water Department claims. Questions?
55087. Looks like a big error. I don't know who made the discovery, but
Yeah.
is there a story behind it?
Well, yeah, there's always a story. This is one of the I'd call it hardships of our billing adventures here, going from one to the next and back. So I believe on this one, the transition between softwares resulted in a multiplier error of 10. So I think that's what happened on this one.
Okay. And multiple months and.
Well, that would have been a quarter, I believe. So yeah, probably 3 months worth. And it looks like Ray's phone number coming on here right now. Ray, are you with us now?
Yep, I'm right here.
Great, full commission.
We're on the Water Department claims, and Joel just explained why 55087 was such a large amount, and basically it's a multiplying error that's due to the software transition, that new software. Carl, did you say, did we have something like this similar last month? May saying yes.
Yeah, and I think just to be, fully upfront about it, I think it's going to be a while when we experience some of these, because we had a real mess in data is, I guess, the easiest way to put it. Converting one the first time and try to convert that back, and the way they structured data and everything else. And the staff here has been just putting in an incredible amount of effort to getting everything to be as, the best integrity data that we can have. But we're going to have to get through a few billing cycles with each cycle, all 3 of them, before we have a ton of confidence in it. But we went through quite a bit of data manipulation to get it as good as we can. So we'll be pretty diligent about looking through things for the next many billings, but I'm quite certain we're going to come across some issues.
So I had forgotten, we don't send every household in the community their bill on the same months every year. We rotate them, right?
That's right. So we have 3 cycles, so you get billed quarterly. So we'll bill out a third of the city this month, a third of the city next month, and a third of the city then, or I'm sorry, 3 billings, 4 quarters. So yeah, a third, you get it quarterly. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Any other questions?
I have one. What is the 55100? The first right of refusal?
You want me to do that, Joel?
Sure, if you'd like, yeah.
For probably in excess of 30 years, the city has a contract that gets renewed every 5 years with the Isaac Walton League, which owns about 160 acres. And much of that acreage is near our wells out by the airport, including well number 11. And this is paid out every year as a way to acknowledge the fact that the Ikes cannot sell that land because it would be a perfect place for a subdivision as long as that contract continues to get renewed. And if somewhere along the line they did want to sell it, the city would have the first right of refusal on it. If this has been in place for, I think, close to 30 years.
Yep.
And probably up for renewal, a 5-year renewal, I think in 2023, if I remember correctly.
That sounds about right. Yeah. This is essentially wellhead protection in one way or another. Yep.
Any other questions on the water department? All right, let's go on to sewage.
This is actually another water report we had too, because last month we didn't have the balance on there. So that's why you've seen that twice.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. I just scrolled down to the next one and I didn't even notice. So what she's getting at is that over here, because of some timing, the totals weren't included last time. So if you wanted to look back at those, you certainly can. I'll go down to wastewater here. There we go.
Okay, so no questions on sewage.
Water.
On to storm. No questions in stormwater? If not, a motion to approve all 3 sets of claims is in order.
I'll move for approval, Ray.
Haynes will second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, so we have a update on the roof at well number, oh, wait a minute here.
Yeah, that's the right item. It involves 3 roofs though.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
So the memo here is so nobody's got to look back and dig out paperwork on the capital project, just really outlining things. So we have in both water and wastewater in the approved capital budget this year, roofing projects. Specifically, it's 2 roofs at wastewater and 1 roof for water, being the largest one. That's the well 11 roof. You'll see here that the approved dollar amounts right here. I am still sharing my screen, right? You can see this?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Yes.
The approved amount for wastewater was 105,000, and the approved amount for water was 350,000. Yeah. So we had the bid spec and bid drawings put together. It went out to be advertised like always, 2 notifications. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting where anybody who wanted to bid had to attend, just to make sure that anybody who was there had qualifications to complete the work. And then on February 23, we publicly opened and read aloud the results to those bids, as is customary. And the lowest bid, who was both qualified and responsive, which happened to be the lowest bid all over, so that's good, was Pioneer Roofing. The wastewater component of that came in at just over 111,000, so we were a little low on our estimate there. That's here. And the well 11 component came in at 250,000, and so we were actually well under our kind of estimate there. I just wanted to throw one thing out there, maybe without getting into an incredible amount of detail, is that we have talked at length at different meetings, and it's been over a long period of time now. So I just wanted to summarize that there are still things that we are investigating regarding the well 11 roof failure. So awarding this project does not negate our ability to seek some sort of compensation or legal remedy for the roof that's there and failed. So I just wanted to make that clear, is that we are having those discussions still, and we are pursuing that still. Either way, that roof needs to be replaced. So what you have before you is the staff recommendation to award the utility roofing project 2109 to Pioneer Roofing in the amount not to exceed $416,066.55. And the reason that's not what's on the bid tab is because we always include that 15% contingency when we award. That's a statutory limit to contingencies.
And part of the reason there's not going to be a lot of discussion about the detail related to the old roof is we're going through discussions regarding some legal proceedings, and we don't want to risk saying anything or doing something that might put us in jeopardy on that regard. So as we get further along, we'll keep you more informed. So.
Yeah, and if at any point there's cause for it, we can always schedule a closed session meeting where we can talk outside of open session.
Logan is working on this. Logan is working on this with Joel one-on-one. So,
Where is Pioneer Roofing out of?
Oh boy. I should know that. We did our last project with them. No, we didn't.
Hey, Joel, they're out of Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, thanks.
Got all the paperwork here. It would just taking me a second. Thanks.
Sure.
Joel,
great.
Joel,
So-
Carl, there is an addendum, and can you explain the addendum and which project does that affect?
The addendums that were issued with the bid,
Correct.
they were really clarifying matters that came up during the pre-construction meeting or the pre-bid meeting. One of the things is the way we're handling a wall between two roof members at well 11. We added an addendum so we'd get a bid on flashing that wall essentially. And the other was some clarifying language in the contract just to make sure they bid it appropriately. So
it doesn't increase the price. It's a information bid.
Basically, if you look at this on the bid tab, the yellow column here is the price component of that addendum, option 1 or option 2. We actually recommended the award with option 2 of Pioneer Roofing's bid. It's this line as a total. And that is the wall that exists between the lower roof and the upper roof at well 11 has a translucent window in it. You know, it's not a clear glass window. It's just for daylight. And this addendum included work to flash that wall and keep the window opening there as a window, so functional. Because one of the issues we're having is driving rain against that wall, ending up inside the building. So this was identified after the original bid package was put together, but before the bids were due. So that's that addendum.
Thank you.
So I guess Joel's looking for a motion in a second to approve the dollar amounts that are listed in his correspondence of March 3rd.
Move to approve. This is Carl.
Haynes will second.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 All same sign. Motion carried. All right, on to the discussions regarding well 4.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, just for the sake of this discussion, I just put together a little memo so that we stay in touch with the efforts on well 4. Well 4 being the well on the north side of 10 across the highway from Iverson at the bottom of the hill there, but on the opposite side of the highway from Iverson Park. That well is one that in our capital is scheduled to have some well site investigation efforts and things like that and be replaced. And ultimately we will call that well 12. Right now, it looks as though the most likely siting for that well is up in this area somewhere. And that's why I drew that really amoeba looking blob, is because I don't know exactly where yet, but this is the current well foresight down here. And so the memo today is really just to say, pretty soon here, I'm going to need to have an item at the Plan Commission to request for acquisition of property, because all property acquisition or disposition goes to the Plan Commission. But it is utility spending. So I'd like some approval there, just as a part of the cadence of a project like this, to do that. And then before we pursue anything, I'll have some conversations with landowners, and then we'll be going to the Plan Commission for that approval. So that's really what this one's all about.
Not really sure what you're asking us to approve.
Well, the specifically just this portion of the spending, right? We don't have dollars yet, but when we have a budget line item out there that I think is $760,000, but it improves a lot of things. It improves some well site investigation, and improves this, that, and the other thing. So right now, because of the fact that typically when you go to Plan Commission for land acquisition or dispensing of land, there's a little bit different mechanism to the funding, right? It's an inside of City Hall type funding, but this is going to be land paid for by the Water Department. So I just wanted the commission to understand that we're going to be pursuing conversations with individuals who may hold land that could work for us there, so that it doesn't go to the Plan Commission before you guys hear about it, essentially. Anna will hear about it either way.
So the motion will essentially say what the last sentence in your letter speaks to.
Yes.
Dave, motion's in order.
Joel, the parcel just north of Ridge Court does appear to be a vacant parcel. Does that, the other ones all seem to have a residence associated with it. Does that make a difference in what you may pursue?
It might. Yeah, there's we're in the vicinity here, and it could get outside of this. We're probably going to put a test well down, and that is what determines if we need to do further investigation. And as things develop there, it's kind of there's a lot of steps involved, right? So if we get good results from the cul-de-sac down there, we'll probably pursue something in that area, because the closer we can be to well 4 with the new well, the better, right? Because we're still going to treat the water at the treatment facility at the current well 4 site. So yeah, if we get good results up on top of the hill, and it's hard to tell here, but there's an incredible break in grade here. I don't know, maybe between 16 and 22 feet, somewhere in there, I bet, to get up on top of the hill. And that's really what we're after as part of that. So it's uncertain at this point, but yeah, this area up here will probably be the area where we start talking to people.
Will we have to buy land for the water mains too, from the well to the treatment plant?
Yep. So the property between is one that we could very well end up working on for an easement for water distribution to get from the well to the treatment plant. Assuming that this is a location for a future well or something like that.
Is Arbutus Street, is that a dedicated right of way north of the existing well site? It popped up on the parcel map, but it looks like this is what Hull. And
it's an interesting question. I actually don't know if that's dedicated right away or not. Arbutus Lane does show up on a lot of maps. And we actually plow, the water utility plows from Main Street up here through this property up to Ridge Court, so that we have 2 accesses to well 4. But I'm guessing it's not a dedicated road right now. It's kind of one of those, I wouldn't say unknown, just unknown by me right at this moment. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and well, Arbutus even appears to go further north up to Simonis.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm sorry, it doesn't go to Ridge. This is a big kind of drop off right here to that property. It goes up to Simonis, and this is access to this property, and it keeps going through and gets you to well 4 and gets you all the way out to Main Street. Mm-hmm. I know that the delivery folks, Bill's Pizza, stuff like that, I know they got it on their maps.
Joel, I assume wherever you put the the well, there's gonna have to be some size of structure to protect it. Do you know approximately how big that will be?
Yeah, if you picture the well buildings out in the well field, the smaller ones, more along the lines of those, pretty small, enough room to, and actually right now as the design goes, it's actually being recommended as a pitless type unit where the discharge of the well actually goes out below grade. So it'll be a pretty minor little structure. I mean, one stall garage or smaller type thing is what I'm envisioning. But as that gets closer to knowing what we need, we'll definitely have something to share with you.
One question just to fill my curiosity. How deep is a test well go? And then how much gallons do you pump in testing? Just do you max it at capacity, or how's
It's a good question. For something like this, the test well wouldn't be the same diameter as a production well, of course. It might be something like a 4-inch test well. In some cases, the scope of that work will say something like till refusal or 110 feet, right? Knowing we don't need to go down too much further than that. If they're still hitting productive soil and everything looks good at 110 feet, they'll probably terminate the test. That's what they did out on other sites. So it'll probably be a this or that, till refusal or to this depth. And really what they're looking for is the formation that is really productive for water. When you get outside the fine sands and start getting into some small gravel, coarser gravel, stuff like that. So it's not yet determined. That's part of the exploratory nature of the test well, is to figure out what's down there.
Are we looking for less manganese?
No, the issue with this well, I think, well, first of all, this is our oldest well currently. Wells 1 through 3 are long since abandoned. In fact, 2 of them are the stone buildings in Iverson Park. Those are old well buildings from, shortly after 1922, when the utility forms, those buildings would have been constructed and operated wells out of there. So it's probably in the 50s that those couple of those were abandoned, I think. But well 4, we had some issues. We're really thinking because of the fact that it has almost no vertical distance between that and the Plover River. So in certain times of spring, you'll get raw water samples that don't pass Bactese tests, stuff like that. So that's it as much as anything. And it was needing very frequent rehabilitation. Most of our wells we can put on a cycle and just cycle through all the wells with rehab. This one was needing it far more frequently than the others, so it's just kind of showing its age. I think, Eric, do you recall, is this well 1964? Something like that?
Sounds about right. There is some iron and manganese issues with that groundwater source at 4 though as well. But
yeah, and I suppose I did kind of talk around that issue. The treatment plant is for iron and manganese, so we have a treatment plant to remove the iron manganese, so that's not necessarily what we're trying to escape, but we would love to find water that doesn't have as much in it from an iron and manganese perspective. But the reason for moving the well is not the iron and manganese itself, because we've got a treatment plant constructed to take care of that.
This building that's currently there was built in, was it early 90s, middle 90s?
Yeah, the treatment plant was built around well 4 in the middle 90s. That's right.
That's why the building is so much larger than our normal well buildings out by the airport.
Right.
So, it's something that makes sense to me. So.
And Carl, I had a follow up with your question. The well to the north of us at that residence, we did sample. I think it was the fall of 2018 or spring of 2019. We took a water sample, and they did have significantly less iron and manganese that we usually see at well 4, and higher quality water. And they're just uphill from us, so we figured that'd be a good spot closer to the plant that would look good for water. So that's why we're looking up there.
What's their depth of well?
I could pull up. I'll have to find it from UWSP. We do have a report on that. I'll have to look. I don't remember.
Yeah, wondered if it was one of the 30 footers or if they're pulling much deeper.
Well, well 4 is one of our shallowest. I think well 4 goes down to like 54 feet, something like that. And so, it tells you where at the time it was a productive well. I would imagine we won't find a need to go more than 80, something like that, but we'll know more when we do the test well.
All right, I don't think we got a motion or a second to proceed with the last sentence in that letter.
This is Carl. I would move to approve.
Approval to seek permission from the Plan Commission to acquire land in the area indicated for municipal well 12.
I'll second Ray.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carried. On to water supply and distribution report, Eric.
All right, pretty quiet month, really, besides the two topics we just discussed. We're just moving forward with the end of the year reporting for our regulators and looking forward to spring. So unless you guys have any other questions or concerns.
I think we're good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On to sewage treatment, Chris.
All right, the wastewater plant was able to meet all of our permit requirements. It was a pretty challenging month. We did have a major upset caused by some low influence strength along with the really cold temperatures. We're working with Donahue and Associates to have a solution to these issues in our future planning that we're doing. Just making sure that we're covering all our bases as we go through that, making it so we can avoid another situation like that. The biogas engine finally got rebuilt the last week in February. The really cold temperatures made it impossible to rebuild it. Well, it was that cold since that's outside, and the shrinking and swelling of the metal at different temperatures made it not great for putting an engine back together. So rather than having them slap it together when it was really cold, we had them wait a couple weeks until it warmed back up and they could do it successfully. But that being said, we were able to still produce 4% of our own electricity, which wasn't great. But for the, I think, 6 days that we ran for the month, that wasn't horrible. And we were also, through that really cold temperature, we were able to produce about 60% of our own heat. So that was a pretty good thing to see.
Great. Thank you.
Chris, you mentioned the upset. Was that on February 23rd?
No, it actually started in the end of January. Let me look at February 23rd here.
I just know the difference in suspended solids.
Yeah, we get some days that go up and down. It varies day to day. We had actually been fighting it since about January 25th. We had been working to correct it as that cold snap came in. And it takes a while to bring a wastewater plant back around. So we did end up, we just kind of fought it for about a month. We're just hopefully coming out of it now. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to normal operation by the end of the month.
Any other questions? If not, we'll go on to item number 8, construction and maintenance. Craig?
Good afternoon, everybody. The weather has improved for us here, and we're just finished up checking hydrants. I think today was the last day that we did that. It'll be repairing any hydrants that we found that were not operating properly. The weather's not as changed. We'll be out repairing some fiber stuff. The fiber that we took over has a few things that could be improved through our guys locating and stuff. So we're going to start doing that. We did have a few water main breaks here the last month, which was a little bit higher than last year, but nothing too terrible. So other than that, everything seems to be going okay.
Very good. Thank you. On to community area network and combine that with your director's report, please, Joel.
Yep. Actually, I've got nothing to add. The two items above are really what we were focused on this month. So nothing to add.
All right. Motion to adjourn is in order.
So move, Nachman.
All those in favor signify by the sign of aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carried.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.